A happy Halloween to all my DYF Bets family members. Hopefully you guys are having a great day out there. Stay safe, and guess what? It's going to be a spooky, it's going to be an ugly Thursday night football game, but hopefully the trick-or-treaters don't distract you from too much, as we're going to have a matchup between the Texans and the Jets. Who's going to win that game? I really don't care. Both of those teams suck, but I do have a player prop for you in that game, including a bonus best bet at the end of the video. So make sure you stay till the end. And then, yes, we do have some NBA action as well. So I've got a few player props on you the way. Let's get into it. This is the Free 3. What's up, guys? It's your boy Noble Living, back with another DYF Bets video where I'm breaking down my favorite picks and plays of the day as we're just trying to get to the bag together and make some money. Yesterday, we were so close to a sweep. One rebound away from a 3-0 day. We need a 3-0 day like air. It's been too long. It's been too long. And I know things have been creepy. I know things have been weird out there. Well, that's the October air for you. But yesterday we were able to get Jordan Poole's points. We needed 24. He gave us 24. We needed RJ Barrett's points and rebounds. The guy got there on points alone. You love to see that. Our only loss of the game came from Mr. Jason Tatum, and I should have taken the combo square, but I didn't. I took him up for 9 rebounds. And guess what? He finished with 8 in overtime. So a tough loss there, but you know what? You can't be too mad at a 2-in-1 day. You can see our record now for the month of October. Hey, that's how we need to rebound, get over 500 there. And listen, we still have 1 day left. And that's why I loaded up today's card with 4 best bets that I really love. And if we sweep the board today, there would be nothing greater to finish off the month of October in the black. We need that, and then carry that momentum into November where we have nothing but beautiful sports on, and probably we ain't gonna shit the bed. And I can promise you, we're not gonna shit the bed in November like the New York Yankees did yesterday. Well, did y'all see that game? Oh my goodness, I'm not even gonna get into that. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, if you haven't hit that bell button, I don't know what you're doing. We are 5 subscribers away from 900. Send this to one of your friends. Just say, yo, just hit the subscribe button. My boy needs to get to 1,000 subscribers. That is our momentum. That is what we need here. So if you've been liking the channel, if you've been showing love from day one, like my boy Nick, like my boy Ryan, I appreciate y'all. But make sure that we also get this video out to 1 or 2 more people so we can hit 900 subscribers. Let's get into these winners for today, and I appreciate y'all. Let's go. All right. First best bet of the day, Jets, Texans. What are we taking? I'm not taking a teaser, even though I'd love to tease it. Why? Because I do think the Texans can keep this game close, but there's just a lot of injury news. We know what's going on right now. CJ Stroud without his 2 top wide receivers. We've got no Nico Hollins. We've got no Stephon Diggs, who missed last game, or left last game, I should say, with an ACL injury. And everybody and they mama on gambling Twitter is under CJ Stroud's passing yards. I get it. He's way better inside of a dome than he is outside. But for me, this is just a clear spot for the Jets where they need to win the game. They've lost 5 games in a row. They fired their head coach. They brought in one of Aaron Rodgers' most reliable and favorite targets in Devontae Adams. There's no more excuses at this point, okay? Like, there's no other justification. There's no other way. Like, there's no other scapegoat, right? Aaron Rodgers, you might be 40 years old, but you asked for a new team. You asked for a new environment, and this is where you got to show up. This is where you got paid those big bucks. This is where you got to produce. But losing to the Patriots, that's not getting it done. Losing to the Jets, that's not going to get it done. The lucky thing here is this game is at home. Now, they have dropped home games so far this year. We saw that against their last home game back on October the 14th against the Buffalo Bills, but they lost that game 23-20, even though they probably should have won that game. They also lost at home to the Denver Broncos back on the 29th, 9-10. But again, that was just a very close game as well. So for me, when I'm looking at this game, I do lean the Jets on the money line. I do lean them on the spread, but I'm not willing to go there. But one thing that they have done since they've brought in their new head coach, or their interim defensive coordinator, who's now the head coach, right? They've started running the ball a lot more. And that is where this Jets team is probably the best, okay? If the teams know that Aaron Rodgers is going to be dropping back in the shotgun every time, the defenses can sit back on that and pick that out. And in all honesty, Aaron Rodgers still has great accuracy. He can still sling it down the field, but just the chemistry with some of his weapons aren't necessarily there. So him throwing the ball 45 times, 40 times in a game is unnecessary. You've got a guy like Breece Hall. Use him. And as a result, we're going to go over 15.5 carries today, minus 125 odds. Now, if your book has it at 16.5, I'm not opposed to that. If you want to take his rushing yards over 66.5, I'm not opposed to that either. But Breece Hall needs to touch the rock today if the Jets are going to win this game. We saw in his last start against the Patriots, he had 16 carries for 80 yards at 5 yards per carry. That's what you need. His start before that against Pittsburgh, he had only 12 carries, but the reason for that was because they were getting blown out in that game pretty early. And his start before that against the Buffalo Bills, where they lost that game by 1 possession, 18 carries for 113 yards to go at 6.3 yards per carry. That's what we need right here. Now, if you guys are a little bit worried and you look at the box score last week against the Patriots and said, hey, no, but what about Braylon Allen? He's been getting a few more touches. He did have 12 carries last game, but he only had 32 yards on the 12 carries. That's good for 2.7 yards per carry. I think the coaching staff looked at that. They know that, and as a result, we're not going to lean into that too heavily here, and I don't think he's going to get as many touches as he needs to, and I think that we're now going to see a steady dose of run and pass. I do lean Davante Adams reception yards. Hint, hint, that might be the bonus bet a little bit later. But I do think that Breece Hall is the guy in today's game who's going to be able to make the most impact. Now, the way that you affect this Texans team, they do have a strong defensive line, but you really affect them on the ground, okay? They're right now number 3 in opponent pass yards per game at 164 per game. Guess who's the number 2 team? That's right, the New York Jets at 161. So that's why everybody's on CJ Stroud's under. But that's why I think that this can be a muddy, in the trenches type of game, low scoring affair. We have seen some of these primetime games fly over recent week, but I do think that we're going to get the windy, cold weather in New York, which is going to mean let's hand the ball off to Breece Hall. Let's get him into a rhythm. Let's get him his touches. And when you're getting 4 or 5 yards per carry, it's kind of hard to go away from that. So for me, I like this. It's not an overthink it spot. I think it's just going to be an ugly, close game, a 1-possession game. We see that from the spread, and I do think the Jets are going to win this game, so I do lean them. And if they have the lead late, that's why I love the carries over the yards, because now when we get down to that territory where you're trying to milk the clock, when you're trying to not give the ball back, this is where you hand off the ball 5, 6, 7 times in 1 possession. So for me, if we can get a steady dose of the run early, I like us to be able to cash this in late in the evening or late in the game. So give me over 15.5 carries for Breece Hall as our first best bet of the day. For our second best bet of the day, let's head over to the association real quickly, as we have 4 games on the slate, and there's a few games that I like. The first we're going to go with is a guy that I've taken earlier on the channel before, and that's Mr. Alfred Sengun. Those combo squares have been treating us fairly well, so no need to go away from it. So let's go over 27.5 points and rebounds. You can get this at minus 125 odds there on FanDuel across the board. Now, Alfred Sengun is a player that right now on this Rockets team, he brings a very just different, unique style, right? Obviously, Jalen Green is a great scorer. He's somebody out there who's going to be jacking 20, 25 shots a game. But Sengun brings balance to that offense, not just on the offensive glass, but his ability to pass the ball, his ability to rebound, his ability to shoot the mid-range. He has an effective post game as well, which is something that we don't really see much in the NBA anymore. And I think that that pays dividends for him, especially against a team like the Dallas Mavericks, who the Rockets are playing today, who don't really have any of those big men inside who are really superstars. They're a very guard-heavy team like Luka, Kyrie, Clay, right? They're a very guard-dominant team, and that's no knock on Daniel Gafford. That's no knock on Derek Lively, but those are not guys, like those are key tool role players. They're not guys that you're building a team around. But Sengun, he's the type of player that you could build a team around, if I'm being honest. I think he has that type of talent. Obviously, somebody like Joker gets all the attention, but Sengun is somebody who's like a lesser, greater value of Joker. I don't want to disrespect him to that level, but he's just like Target to Walmart in a way, right? Like he can still give you what you need, and when you need those best prices or those best efficiency games, he gives you that. And that's why I like the 27.5 points and rebounds, because he's gone over this total in 2 of the 4 games that he's played this year. 25 and 18 against the Hornets, 16 and 15 against the Grizzlies, and then he had back-to-back starts against the Spurs, where they only had 6 points and 5 rebounds. Last game, which was on Tuesday, he had 12 points and 12 rebounds. He went under in the last last 2 games. So if he just went under the last 2 games, Noble, why are you taking him here? Because I just mentioned the Mavericks are a lot of a different team than the Spurs are. Why? Because they don't have Victor Wembanyama, and also Sengun was in foul trouble in both of those games because of Wembanyama. So now when you face this Mavericks team that doesn't really have a lot of offensive weapons, that should be able to keep Sengun on the floor. But also when you have the rebounders like Gafford and Likely, that means that he should be able to grab the boards. And we saw back in December when he faced the Mavericks last year, he had 22 points and 15 rebounds in just 25 minutes. So coming off of a day of rest, and he didn't even play that much in the last few games because of foul trouble, Sengun should be rested here. He should be on the boards, on the glass, grabbing rebounds. I think this is going to be a close game, and we should be able to go over this total. And he also faced the Mavericks in November of last year as well, 31 points and 9 rebounds. So the last 2 times he faced them last season, he went over this number. I'm not overthinking it. Alperen Sengun, I really like right now. I think his line's a little bit lower than the books are kind of giving him value for, and we should be able to get that adjusted, and we should take advantage of that. He's averaging 23.5 rebound chances per game, and last season, he covered this line in 100% of the games that he saw 20-plus rebound opportunities. That was 13 times, and he averaged close to 40 points and rebounds during those games. So for me, I love this spot. We're smashing it. Give me Alfred Sengun over 27.5 points and rebounds. If you want to take the PRA line as well, be my guest. But I think he can get this easily off of like 22 points, 5, 6 rebounds, but I think he's grabbing double-digit rebounds. His double-double is also at -110. I'm not opposed to that either. Third and final pick of the day. A team that has let us down so far to start the season, a lot of question marks surrounding them. That is the Milwaukee Bucks. A lot of things that are going on there in Milwaukee. I think they need to fire Doc Rivers, one of the most overrated coaches in NBA history. Not even in NBA right now. I'm talking about history. But we're not going to get into that right now because no need to cry over spilled milk. 1-3 is the record for the Bucks, and they got to figure it out fast as they now travel on the road to a Memphis Grizzlies team that is 2-3, but they're also healthy. Jaren Jackson Jr. played his first game in his last start back on Wednesday. He had 28 minutes to go with 30 points, 4 rebounds. You love to see that. And that was the first time that we got to see Edey, Jackson, and Morant all on the floor together. But because they're coming off of the second night of a back-to-back, I think they're susceptible here. And I think this is a big game for the Bucks to be able to pick up a much-needed win. And if they're going to pick up a win, they need their superstars to step up. And as a result, we're going to go Mr. Damian Lillard over 23.5 points. You can play 24.5 as well. -125 odds on BetMGM. Why do I like Damian Lillard here? Because it's motherfucking Damian Lillard. What are we talking about here? One of the best scorers in NBA history to be able to do it. And now we're getting at a line at 23.5 when he's averaging 28 points to start the regular season. He's only gone under this line in 1 game, and that was against the Brooklyn Nets, where he only shot at 37% from the field and 14% from the 3-point line. Nah, and he had 21 points that game, so he just barely missed it. So far this season, 33 points last game against the Celtics, and that was on Monday. So they've had 2-3 days of rest. I mentioned the 21-point outburst against the Nets. That really didn't do too much. And then he had 28 points against the Bulls. He had 30 points against the opening season win against the 76ers. That's what they need from Damian Lillard. Take the pressure off of Giannis to have to do everything, score the basketball, and 23.5 is just way too low of a number here that we're getting. And for me, I just love it, okay? And then when you keep in mind that right now the Grizzlies, again, the season is just getting started, so we don't have too much of data to work off of. But when you look at the numbers for the Grizzlies, they're giving up the 4th most three-pointers to point guards, made three-pointers. On average, they're giving up about 4 made three-pointers per game to point guards. They're also middle of the pack in terms of points allowed per game to a point guard. So for me, you're giving up the threes, which Damian does more than probably just about anybody in the league. You're giving up a lot of points to point guards. And then also, yes, their numbers are a little bit skewed because there was no Jaren Jackson. But right now, to start the season, the Grizzlies have the 8th worst defensive rating. They gave up 119 and 126 to the Bulls. They're playing on the second night of a back-to-back, like I mentioned. And they also play really fast. 4th fastest team in the NBA in terms of pace of play. So for me, these are all factors as to why I like the Bucks here, not only to grab the outright win, but for them to also be able to put up some points today. I believe that Damian Lillard is going to be a great catalyst there for that team. And given the fact that they just gave up 119 points, the Grizzlies, to the Nets yesterday, I like the fact that the Bucks can score 125, 130 today. And if they do, Damian Lillard is going to be right there in the mix. Don't overthink it. Over 23.5 points is our third and final best bet of the day. Oh, that's it for me today, my friends. 3 best bets, 3 quick winners that I'm giving you guys on this Thursday slate here on Halloween. Give me Breece Hall over 15.5 rush attempts or carries. Give me Damian Lillard over 23.5 points. And give me Alfred Sengun over 27.5 points and rebounds. If you stayed all the way to the end of the video, I greatly appreciate it. If you have not smashed that button just yet, make sure you do that so you can continue to support the channel. But my bonus bet of the day is going to be one man, one game. Shout out to Mikey Overs from Book It Sports with that kind of analogy there. And we've got Davante Adams over 55.5 receiving yards. And I'm also going to sprinkle his anytime touchdown at like plus 140 odds. He's had about 11 days with the Jets now at this point to figure everything out, to get into a rhythm with Aaron Rodgers. The Jets need to win this game. They cannot fall to 2-7 on the year. Yes, it's a bleak chance for them to make the postseason anyway, but good news is they're in a very weak AFC East. And looking at the Bills, I mean, yeah, they've been winning games, but they can also melt down because we've seen that in years past. So the Jets need to stay within striking distance, and Davante Adams is the way that they're going to be able to do that today. Give me the anytime touchdown for half a unit sprinkle, but also give me his reception or receiving yards over 55.5 as well as our 4th and final bonus pick of the day. I gave you guys a 5th one in there as well. Probably want to count that to the record unless it wins, right? But, you know, those are a few other looks that you can take a look at. But that's what I'm going with on this Thursday slate. You guys have a safe Halloween out there. If you're going trick-or-treating with your kids, please be safe. Please be protected. Please pay attention to what is being given out there. A lot of crazy things happen at this time of year, at this time of night. People, I just don't know what goes on with these people in this world. You guys be safe out there, and let's sweat some bets out tonight. And as always, dictate your fate, get to that cheddar, and I'll see you on tomorrow's video. Later, guys.